Power, it shapes history, commands respect, and defines destiny. For centuries, philosophers, kings, and warriors have tried to understand it, to master it, to survive it. But in the modern world, the rules of power have not disappeared. They've simply changed form. In the 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene distills 3,000 years of wisdom into timeless principles, drawn from the rise and fall of history's greatest figures. From Machiavelli to Sun Tzu, from Cleopatra to Napoleon, every law reveals how power is gained, defended, and lost. Greene doesn't moralize, he observes. He shows us that power is neither good nor evil, it's a force like fire. It can destroy or illuminate. And in a world driven by competition, ambition, and influence, understanding these laws is not a luxury, it's survival. Some will call it manipulation, others will call it mastery, but those who read with open eyes will see the truth. Power flows to those who understand human nature, not those who deny it. This is daily audiobook wisdom. The journey begins here, The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Not just a book, but a manual for the game that never ends. Law 1. Never outshine the master. Power is a delicate game, and every move is watched. The first law, Robert Greene says, is simple but ruthless. Never outshine the master. Those above you must always feel superior. Make them shine, and they will protect you. Outshine them, even by accident, and you ignite their deepest insecurity. Throughout history, many have fallen for breaking this law. The brilliant Nicolas Fouquet, finance minister of France, built a palace so magnificent that even the king felt small. His reward for dazzling the monarch? A lifetime in prison. In the theater of power, visibility is dangerous, and brilliance, when uncontrolled, becomes a weapon turned inward. Greene warns, appearing too perfect is fatal. Flatter subtly. Yield gracefully. Let your superiors feel they are the source of your genius. Like the stars that reflect sunlight, let your brilliance glow softly beside theirs. True influence comes not from standing above, but from making others comfortable beneath you. But this law isn't about submission, it's about survival. The wise don't suppress their talent, they disguise it. They wait. They learn. They understand that power often belongs not to the loudest in the room, but to the most strategic. The one who knows when to shine and when to let others believe the light is theirs. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 1. Never outshine the master. A timeless reminder, in the art of power, brilliance is nothing without control. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. We trust friends because it feels safe, because loyalty feels like protection. But in the world of power, safety is often an illusion. Robert Greene warns, never put too much trust in friends. They can betray you more quickly, not out of strategy, but emotion. Familiarity breeds envy, and envy is more dangerous than hate. History offers countless examples. Michael III of Byzantium trusted his childhood friend, Basilius. Raised from poverty to power, Basilius became his closest companion, until ambition poisoned loyalty. One night, the friend he trusted most murdered him and took his throne. Greene's lesson: friendship may feel comfortable, but comfort blinds you. Enemies, on the other hand, have something friends don't: purpose. They are cautious, calculating, and when won over, they often prove more loyal. Because an enemy-turned ally has more to prove than a friend who feels entitled. Greene doesn't tell us to abandon friendship. He tells us to see clearly. In the pursuit of power, emotion is a weakness and blind loyalty is a trap. Keep friends for companionship, but build alliances with strategy. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. A timeless reminder, loyalty without awareness is not strength, it's surrender. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. Power moves best in silence. The third law, Robert Greene says, is simple. Conceal your intentions. Never reveal your plans before the time is right. When people don't know what you're doing, they can't prepare, they can't resist, and they can't destroy what they don't understand. Throughout history, the masters of power have hidden their true goals behind smokescreens. Otto von Bismarck, the Prussian statesman, played political rivals like pieces on a chessboard, making them believe his moves served their interests, while in truth, he was shaping a new empire. Every word, every gesture was misdirection, a mask hiding a plan years in the making. Greene reminds us that openness invites attack. The more transparent you are, the more predictable you become, and predictability kills influence. Deception doesn't mean lying, it means guiding perception. Distract with one hand, act with the other. Let others follow the shadows while you move through the dark. This law isn't about deceit, it's about timing. Reveal your truth only when it serves your power. Because once your intentions are visible, your control is gone. The wise never shout their strategy, they whisper their results. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 3, conceal your intentions. A timeless reminder, in the art of power, mystery isn't manipulation, it's mastery. Law 4, always say less than necessary. Words are like arrows, once released, they can't be recalled. Robert Greene warns, powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less than necessary. The more you speak, the more ordinary you seem. The less you reveal, the more others wonder what you're thinking. Mystery magnifies authority. When King Louis XIV ruled France, he dominated his court not through speeches, but silence. Courtiers trembled under his wordless stare, unsure what he approved or condemned. His silence forced others to fill the void with fear and imagination. Greene's lesson, the less you explain, the more others explain you. We speak to connect, but in power, speaking too much connects you to weakness. It exposes your thoughts, your desires, your insecurities. Silence, when chosen intentionally, becomes armor. It makes others reveal themselves first, their ambitions, their limits, their fears. Those who master silence control conversations without words. Their restraint creates gravity. Their pauses become pressure. Their calm becomes dominance. Greene reminds us, silence is not absence, its presence amplified. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 4, always say less than necessary. A timeless reminder, sometimes the most powerful voice is the one that stays silent. Law 5, so much depends on reputation, guard it with your life. Power begins with perception. What others think of you determines how they act around you and how far you can move without resistance. Robert Greene reminds us, so much depends on reputation, guard it with your life. It is the foundation of power. Once it cracks, everything built upon it begins to fall. Your reputation walks ahead of you, entering every room before you do. It opens doors or closes them. In the courts of ancient China, a minister's reputation was often more feared than his sword. The wise understood that power doesn't always need to strike, it only needs to imply its strength. Greene warns, never leave your reputation to chance. Protect it as you would your crown. Defend it before it's attacked, and if it is, strike fast and with precision. Reputation is armor and weapon both. The smallest rumor left unanswered can become a storm that drowns you. At the same time, use reputation as a weapon. Destroying your rival's image can be more effective than defeating them directly. Their words will be ignored, their presence weakened, their influence erased, all without a fight. Power moves not only through action, but through impression. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 5, so much depends on reputation, guard it with your life. A timeless reminder, in the game of power, your name is your fortress, protect it, polish it, and never let it fall into the hands of others. Law 6, court attention at all costs. Power lives and dies in the spotlight. To be invisible is to be forgotten, and to be forgotten is to lose. Robert Greene writes, court attention at all costs. The powerful understand that visibility is survival. The world rarely rewards talent it cannot see. Throughout history, masters of influence knew how to draw the gaze of the masses. P.T. Barnum turned spectacle into empire, Napoleon used charisma to hypnotize armies, and Cleopatra commanded nations not with armies but with allure. They all understood this truth. Attention multiplies power. It gives shape to your presence, weight to your words, and reach to your influence. But attention is a double-edged sword. Seek it too greedily and you look desperate. Avoid it and you disappear. Greene warns, never blend into the background, never be too quiet, too normal, too predictable. The moment you fade, others will step into your light. Create drama, stir curiosity, keep them watching but never let them fully understand you. Mystery fuels fascination. The powerful use contrast, bold moves, vivid gestures, unexpected silence to keep their image alive. Attention is not about noise, it's about presence. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 6, court attention at all costs. A timeless reminder, power isn't taken, it's noticed. Be seen, be remembered, and never ever let the world look away. Law 7, get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Power is leverage. The most powerful people in history rarely did everything themselves. They built systems, inspired followers, and let others labor in their name. Robert Greene writes, "Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit." In the Renaissance, artists, inventors, and generals all depended on unseen hands. The difference between leaders and laborers wasn't effort, it was ownership. Napoleon had his army. Thomas Edison had his inventors. The world remembers the name on the invention, not the ones who built it. Greene's lesson is harsh but real. Never confuse doing everything yourself with being in control. The powerful delegate tasks but own results. They borrow brilliance and turn it into their legacy. Let others expend energy while you guide vision. This isn't theft, it's orchestration. The great conductor doesn't play every instrument, he creates harmony. Master the art of influence, and you'll accomplish more through others than you ever could alone. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 7, get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. A timeless reminder, power isn't in effort, it's in ownership. Law 8, make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. Power is not about chasing, it's about pulling. Robert Greene's 8th law teaches, make other people come to you, use bait if necessary. The one who chases gives control away. The one who waits and draws others in dictates the terms of the game. Throughout history, the most powerful have mastered the art of attraction, not pursuit. Generals lure enemies into traps. Leaders draw followers with vision. The spider doesn't run after the fly, it spins a web. Greene's message is simple. Control the setting and you control the outcome. To make others come to you, you must understand what they want. Desire is the ultimate bait, promise safety to the fearful, glory to the ambitious, belonging to the lonely. When they move toward your offer, you've already won. The powerful never beg, chase, or compete. They create gravity. Their silence makes others speak. Their patience makes others move. Power is not pursuit, it's pull. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 8, make other people come to you, use bait if necessary. A timeless reminder, power doesn't run after opportunity, it builds the stage so opportunity comes to it. Law 9, win through your actions, never through argument. Words rarely change minds, but actions can shift worlds. Robert Greene warns, win through your actions, never through argument. When you argue, you create resistance. When you act, you create results. And in power, results speak louder than reason. History remembers the doers, not the debaters. Galileo proved the heavens moved not by shouting at his critics, but by showing the telescope. Leaders who argue for their worth lose it. Those who demonstrate it earn it. The more you explain, the more doubt you reveal. The more you act, the more inevitable you seem. Greene reminds us that arguments feed ego, not power. Every debate is a trap. It drags you into proving instead of progressing. While your opponents speak, you move. While they defend, you demonstrate. That's how victory becomes silent but undeniable. The wise know when to be silent and when to strike. They understand that action commands attention, while argument only demands it. Let your success be your response, your movement be your message, your result be your revenge. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 9, win through your actions, never through argument. A timeless reminder, power isn't proven in words, it's revealed in motion. Law 10, infection, avoid the unhappy and unlucky. Power, like health, depends on who you surround yourself with. Robert Greene warns, infection, avoid the unhappy and unlucky. Misery is contagious. Misfortune spreads. Those who are constantly in chaos will draw you into it. Their emotional storms become your burden and your downfall. Throughout history, countless powerful figures fell not because of enemies but companions. They tried to help the broken, to fix the doomed, and were pulled into the same abyss. Greene's point is not cruelty, it's clarity. Energy flows both ways, and when you link your fate to those drowning in despair, you sink together. The unhappy rarely mean harm, yet their presence corrodes resolve. Their stories consume your focus, their failures blur your vision. The wise choose their company as carefully as they guard their secrets. Surround yourself with strength, ambition, and faith, and you absorb their momentum. Compassion does not mean proximity. You can care without being captured. Help from a distance, protect your spirit. Power demands vigilance, not arrogance, but awareness. Because emotions, like diseases, can infect even the strong. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 10, infection, avoid the unhappy and unlucky. A timeless reminder, protect your energy, or you'll inherit the chaos of those who refuse to heal. Law 11, learn to keep people dependent on you. The surest way to maintain power is not through kindness or control, but through dependence. Robert Greene's Law 11 teaches, learn to keep people dependent on you. The more others rely on you for their happiness, success, or survival, the more secure your position becomes. Independence is the enemy of power. Once others can live without you, your influence fades. Greene reminds us that leaders, advisors, and rulers through history have mastered this. Make yourself the source of solutions, not just the giver of rewards. Create a world where they cannot move forward without your approval, your insight, your presence. But beware, dependency isn't about domination. It's about design. You weave yourself into the systems of others so deeply that removing you would collapse the structure. In court, in business, in love, the person who is needed will always hold the upper hand. Be indispensable. Cultivate skills no one else can match. Build trust but never full equality. Let others shine, but remind them quietly that their light reflects yours. Because when people depend on you, they fear losing you. And fear is the most stable foundation of loyalty. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 11, learn to keep people dependent on you. A timeless reminder, power isn't taken, it's sustained by the invisible threads of need. Law 12, use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. Honesty is one of the most powerful tools of deception. Robert Greene's 12th law reveals a paradox of power. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. A single act of sincerity can erase years of suspicion. One gesture of kindness can open gates that brute force never could. Throughout history, the shrewdest manipulators have understood that truth, when timed precisely, becomes a weapon. Con artists win trust by confessing a flaw. Kings show mercy to mask their ambition. Even predators in nature appear harmless before the strike. Greene reminds us, sincerity is most effective when it hides intent. This law is not about cruelty, but about control. Power depends on perception, and nothing lowers defenses faster than trust. A well-placed gift, a public apology, or a small act of vulnerability, each becomes a mask behind which real strategy unfolds. To disarm, you must surprise. Honesty in a dishonest world feels revolutionary. But the wise know it is a calculated revolution designed to calm the wary, silence the skeptic, and pave the way for action. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 12, use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. A timeless reminder, sometimes truth is the most elegant disguise for power. Law 13, when asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. In the game of power, no one gives without gain. Robert Greene teaches, when asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. Gratitude fades. Mercy is unpredictable, but self-interest, that never sleeps. The wise understand that every person moves according to their own advantage. Appeal to it and they will move toward you. Throughout history, kings, generals, and negotiators succeeded not by begging, but by aligning their goals with others' desires. When you show people how helping you helps them, you transform their resistance into enthusiasm. Greene reminds us, words like favor or loyalty mean little in the language of power. The real dialect is opportunity, speak it fluently, and doors open on their own. When you appeal to self-interest, you remove the risk of rejection. It's not manipulation, it's clarity. You're not exploiting, you're harmonizing motives. Even generosity can be strategic when it connects your success to theirs. Never depend on pity, it chains you to weakness. Depend on value, it anchors you in strength. Every alliance in power is a trade of benefit, not emotion. Make others feel that helping you is not sacrifice, but smart investment. People will carry your vision as if it were their own, because it serves them too. And in that alignment lies enduring influence. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. A timeless reminder, in the art of power, those who give reason to gain never need to beg. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Information is power, and the most dangerous person in any room is the one who listens. Robert Greene's 14th law teaches, pose as a friend, work as a spy. The art of influence begins not with action but observation. To win, you must first understand, and to understand, you must listen as if loyal, while learning as if invisible. Throughout history, the greatest strategists have gathered knowledge through charm, not interrogation. Courtiers befriended rivals to read their hearts. Generals disguised intentions behind smiles. The Roman statesman Talleyrand once said, "The word you never say controls you. The word you hear controls them." Greene's message is clear. What you know defines what you control. People reveal themselves easily when they feel seen. Ask gentle questions. Offer sympathy. Let silence do the work. Their need to be understood will expose their fears, motives, and secrets. Use this not for cruelty, but for clarity. In power, knowledge is the only currency that never loses value. But never forget, spies are not traitors. They are students of truth. The one who sees the unseen moves first, and the one who moves first decides the outcome. In a world full of noise, the quiet observer is always the most powerful voice in the room. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. A timeless reminder, those who listen deeply rule silently. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. Mercy is beautiful in life, but fatal in power. Robert Greene's 15th law declares, crush your enemy totally. Incomplete destruction only breeds revenge. When you leave your rival standing, you give them time to gather strength, to plan, to return. Power does not forgive hesitation. History is filled with rulers who fell because they stopped too soon. Caesar spared enemies who would later stab him. Napoleon allowed old regimes to linger and watched them rise again. Greene's truth is brutal. If you must strike, strike so completely that resistance becomes impossible. In power, half measures are invitations for defeat. This law isn't about cruelty, it's about completion. Mercy has its place in humanity, not in strategy. When you remove an obstacle, remove it entirely. Destroy not just their strength, but their hope. End the threat before it grows teeth. The wise understand that peace is built not on forgiveness, but on finality. Power demands clarity. When the battle is over, leave no doubt who prevailed. The one who finishes fully sleeps without fear. Greene's warning echoes through time. A wounded enemy is the most dangerous enemy of all. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. A timeless reminder, mercy may heal hearts, but only total victory secures peace. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. Power like fire needs air to breathe. Robert Greene's 16th law teaches, use absence to increase respect and honor. Presence may build familiarity, but absence builds value. When you are always available, you become ordinary. When you retreat strategically, your silence grows louder than your words. Throughout history, leaders, artists, and lovers have understood the power of disappearance. Queen Elizabeth would vanish from court for weeks, leaving her advisors desperate for her return. Her absence made her presence divine. The same principle governs attention. What's rare becomes revered. When you withdraw, you create space for desire. Greene reminds us that power is not in constant motion, but in measured rhythm. Appear, withdraw, and appear again. Let the world feel your absence, then reward its anticipation. When people realize they can lose your presence, they start to value it. Overexposure breeds contempt, scarcity breeds awe. To command attention, learn restraint. Don't chase recognition, make it chase you. Absence is not retreat, it's strategy. By stepping back, you step above. By withholding your presence, you increase your power. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 16, use absence to increase respect and honor. A timeless reminder, sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to step away. Law 17, keep others in suspended terror, cultivate an air of unpredictability. Predictability is comfort, and comfort breeds complacency. Robert Greene's 17th law declares, keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. The predictable can be controlled, the unpredictable cannot. To command power, you must become a storm that no one can forecast. Throughout history, the great wielded unpredictability as armor and weapon. Napoleon's enemies feared him not for his size, but his surprises. Rasputin, the mystic, kept nobles disoriented with his strange behavior, making his influence untouchable. When people cannot anticipate your next move, they stop trying to resist, they wait. And in that waiting, they surrender control. Greene reminds us that routine is the death of authority. The powerful stay alive by breaking patterns, shifting tone, changing rhythm. Confuse your enemies, disrupt their expectations. Let them waste energy preparing for moves you'll never make. The more uncertain they feel, the stronger your presence becomes. Power thrives in mystery. Never allow others to read your rhythm or predict your reactions. Keep them cautious, keep them guessing, because when they cannot calculate your path, they cannot compete. Unpredictability turns fear into respect and confusion into control. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 17, keep others in suspended terror, cultivate an air of unpredictability. A timeless reminder. When no one can read your next move, every move you make becomes powerful. Law 18, do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. Power does not grow behind walls. Robert Greene warns, do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. When you cut yourself off from others, you may feel safe, but you lose awareness. Distance blinds you. The fortress that shields you from danger also traps you from opportunity. History is filled with rulers who built walls instead of alliances. China's emperors hid behind palaces, only to fall to rebellion they never saw coming. The French aristocracy lived in luxury, unaware of the rage outside their gates, until it burned through. Greene reminds us that isolation breeds ignorance, and ignorance is death in the game of power. Connection is intelligence. Information flows through people, and those who isolate lose their map of reality. The powerful stay present not to depend on others, but to read them. They listen, they mingle, they sense shifting winds before the storm arrives. To disappear from the crowd is to lose the pulse of power itself. Protect yourself not with walls, but with networks. Build circles, not fortresses. Engage with rivals, stay visible, and keep your name in motion. Power doesn't live in silence, it lives in awareness. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 18, do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. A timeless reminder, safety is not found in distance, but in connection. Law 19, know who you're dealing with, do not offend the wrong person. Power begins with perception, and perception begins with people. Robert Greene's 19th law warns, know who you're dealing with, do not offend the wrong person. Not all opponents are equal. Some forgive easily, others never forget. The wise study character before conflict, because a single misjudged enemy can undo years of progress. Throughout history, powerful figures have fallen not from great wars, but from personal vendettas. A ruler insulted a proud subordinate and gained a silent rival for life. A merchant mocked a quiet man who later became king. Greene reminds us that pride and insecurity are invisible traps. The wrong word to the wrong ego can ignite destruction far beyond intention. Power requires emotional intelligence. Before you act, observe. Some people crave respect above truth. Others seek revenge above reason. Never assume your enemy will react as you would. In the game of power, misreading emotion is more dangerous than misreading strategy. The wise do not fear people, they read them. They disarm through understanding, not aggression. Know who hungers for validation, who hides behind charm, who wounds easily, and who strikes silently. Knowledge of character is protection from chaos. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 19, know who you're dealing with, do not offend the wrong person. A timeless reminder, power is not just knowing what to do, it's knowing who you're doing it to. Law 20, do not commit to anyone. Freedom is the foundation of power. Robert Greene's 20th law advises, do not commit to anyone. The moment you pledge yourself too deeply, you surrender control. Commitment binds you to another's purpose, and in power, attachment is vulnerability. Throughout history, the greatest strategists stayed above allegiance. Queen Elizabeth I refused marriage not out of loneliness, but wisdom. Her independence made nations compete for her favor. Cardinal Richelieu balanced loyalties between enemies and allies, never belonging to one side long enough to be owned. Greene reminds us, when you are needed by all, you belong to none. Commitment gives others leverage. It ties your hands with loyalty when strategy demands freedom. The powerful float, shifting between camps, shaping alliances, never rooted long enough to be predictable. When both sides believe they have your favor, neither can move against you. This law is not about disloyalty, it's about sovereignty. Your greatest allegiance must always be to your own purpose. Stay fluid, stay unattached. Let your independence make others chase your approval while you remain untouchable. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 20, do not commit to anyone. A timeless reminder, in the game of power, loyalty is currency, and the one who spends it too freely becomes bankrupt. Law 21, play a sucker to catch a sucker, seem dumber than your mark. Intelligence without disguise invites attack. Robert Greene's 21st law reveals a paradox of power. Play a sucker to catch a sucker, seem dumber than your mark. The world is full of egos desperate to feel smarter, wiser, superior. Feed that hunger and they'll reveal themselves. History belongs to those who mastered the art of appearing harmless. Socrates feigned ignorance to expose his opponent's arrogance. Charles Maurice de Talleyrand spoke softly, appearing foolish while orchestrating the fall of empires. Greene teaches, when you make others feel brilliant, they stop guarding their secrets. Flattery becomes your camouflage. Pretending to be weaker disarms suspicion. Pretending to be slower gives you time. The moment people underestimate you, they relax their defenses, and in that space your power moves freely. Never fight pride with pride, guide it with humility. This law is not about deception, it's about precision. Let others waste their energy proving they're smarter while you quietly design the outcome. Appear small, think big, and win with patience. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 21, play a sucker to catch a sucker, seem dumber than your mark. A timeless reminder, the mind that hides its sharpness cuts the deepest. Law 22, use the surrender tactic, transform weakness into power. Sometimes the wisest move in power is not to fight, but to yield. Robert Greene's 22nd law reveals, use the surrender tactic, transform weakness into power. When you are losing, retreating is not defeat, it is preparation. By surrendering, you rob your enemy of the thrill of victory while buying yourself time to rebuild. History honors those who mastered the art of strategic surrender. When the Chinese general Han Xin feigned retreat, he lured his enemy into overconfidence, only to destroy them later. When Nelson Mandela endured decades in prison, he surrendered his freedom but gained moral authority no oppressor could touch. Greene reminds us, Surrender shifts the battlefield from strength to patience. Yielding disarms aggression. Your calm confuses the attacker. Your silence makes their noise look foolish. In every loss lies an opportunity to study, to adapt, to strike when the balance turns. The powerful do not cling to pride, they manipulate it. Surrender is not submission, it's evolution. When you stop fighting battles you cannot win, you start winning wars that others cannot see. Let others waste energy proving victory while you gather the strength to rewrite the ending. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 22, use the surrender tactic, transform weakness into power. A timeless reminder, sometimes the most powerful way to win is to wait. Law 23, concentrate your forces. Power is like energy, it multiplies when focused and fades when scattered. Robert Greene's 23rd law teaches, concentrate your forces. Those who spread themselves thin across too many goals, too many alliances, too many battles dilute their impact. The powerful know that intensity beats breadth. Throughout history, empires have fallen from overreach. Napoleon tried to conquer too much and lost it all. Corporations chase every opportunity and forget the one that matters. Greene reminds us that focus creates gravity. When your resources, time, and energy move in one direction, the world bends toward your will. Focus is not limitation, it's leverage. When you choose where to strike, you multiply force by precision. The wise invest deeply, not widely. They build one fortress so strong that no enemy can breach it. They master one skill so completely that others spend lifetimes trying to imitate it. Power demands discipline. The world will tempt you with distractions, but the one who concentrates moves faster, hits harder, and endures longer. Don't chase 100 sparks, build one unstoppable flame. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 23, concentrate your forces. A timeless reminder, scattered energy fades, but focused purpose conquers. Law 24, play the perfect courtier. In every era, power hides behind manners. Robert Greene's 24th law commands, play the perfect courtier. Power does not always roar, sometimes it whispers through charm, tact, and timing. The courtier thrives not by strength, but by grace. They survive in the presence of kings because they understand that influence moves through elegance, not ego. In royal courts and modern offices alike, survival belongs to those who master social rhythm. The perfect courtier flatters without flattery, disagrees without offense, and obeys without submission. They read moods like maps and emotions like weather. They never speak too long, never reveal too much, and never act before the moment ripens. Greene reminds us, success in hierarchy is an art of subtlety. The perfect courtier turns attention into currency. They make others feel important while quietly expanding their own influence. Every gesture is deliberate, every compliment calculated. In a world ruled by power and pride, diplomacy becomes the most dangerous weapon of all. This law isn't about deception, it's about control. The true courtier never loses composure. They play every interaction like a melody, sometimes leading, sometimes following, but always in tune with the rhythm of power. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 24, play the perfect courtier. A timeless reminder, grace is power disguised as elegance. Law 25, recreate yourself. You are not born with power, you build it. Robert Greene's 25th law teaches, recreate yourself. Do not accept the roles others assign to you. The world will try to label, limit, and define you, but power begins when you decide who you are, not when others tell you. Throughout history, great figures have sculpted their identities like art. Julius Caesar shaped himself as a god among men. Coco Chanel built elegance from rebellion. Greene reminds us, identity is not found, it's forged. To recreate yourself is to declare independence from expectation. The weak inherit definitions, the powerful invent them. Your past is not a prison, it's raw material. Every habit, failure, and triumph is clay for your next creation. The wise reinvent continuously, adapting to new seasons without losing their essence. To stagnate is to decay, to evolve is to dominate. The most dangerous people in any room are those no one can pin down. You are both artist and masterpiece. Recreate yourself not to please, but to command. Become the person your rivals can't predict and your allies can't replace. Reinvention is not change for its own sake, it's evolution on your terms. This is Daily Audiobook Wisdom. Law 25, Recreate Yourself. A timeless reminder, power belongs to those who never stop becoming. Law 26, Keep your hands clean. Power is a performance and appearances decide the story. Robert Greene's 26th law warns, keep your hands clean. You must always appear noble, honest, and moral, even when your hands move in shadows. The powerful achieve great things through others, ensuring their image remains untouched by the dirt of ambition. Throughout history, rulers, politicians, and executives have built empires without ever appearing to lift a finger. They create distance between act and actor, letting others take blame while they take credit. The facade of purity becomes their strongest shield. Greene reminds us that reputation is a mask, and true power lies in keeping that mask unbroken. To keep your hands clean, use intermediaries. Let others execute your unpleasant tasks. The fall guy, the scapegoat, the loyal servant, each protects your image while advancing your will. Never let emotion draw you into the mess directly. Power is maintained through composure, not confession. This law isn't about deceit, it's about discipline. The powerful don't hide their intentions, they manage their optics. They understand that perception shapes truth, and that distance from guilt is as valuable as virtue itself. Appear pure even when you act with precision. This is Daily Audiobook Wisdom. Law 26, Keep your hands clean. A timeless reminder, in the theater of power, innocence is often the finest illusion. Law 27, Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. Humans crave meaning. In a world of chaos, they search for something or someone to believe in. Robert Greene's 27th law reveals, play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. The most powerful leaders do not just command, they give people faith. And faith, once captured, becomes the purest form of control. Throughout history, prophets, generals, and visionaries have understood this law. They spoke not just to minds, but to hearts starved for purpose. From religious leaders to revolutionary figures, their secret was the same: offer salvation in a world that feels lost. Greene reminds us that people will sacrifice logic for belonging, reason for hope, and freedom for certainty. To wield this power, create rituals, symbols, and language that separate followers from the ordinary. Make your vision sacred, your mission larger than life. Give people something to serve, and they will serve you without realizing it. The cult of personality is built not on truth, but on belief that feels truer than truth. This law isn't about deception, it's about understanding human longing. People don't just want leaders, they want meaning. If you can embody that, your influence will last far beyond your presence. Inspire belief, and you will command more than obedience, you will command devotion. This is Daily Audiobook Wisdom. Law 27, Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. A timeless reminder, power isn't just about control, it's about capturing the soul. Law 28, Enter action with boldness. Hesitation is the death of power. Robert Greene's 28th law commands, enter action with boldness. The timid never rule, the cautious never lead. In the game of power, doubt is louder than failure. When you move, move decisively, because half-hearted gestures invite attack. Throughout history, boldness has been mistaken for confidence, but it is far more than that, it is control of perception. Julius Caesar crossing the Rubicon was not just a military decision, it was a declaration of destiny. Boldness signals certainty, and certainty commands obedience. Greene reminds us, the bold appear to know something others do not, and that illusion alone gives them strength. When others hesitate, act. When others fear, advance. Boldness has a power that strategy alone cannot produce. Even when wrong, a bold move creates momentum, forcing others to adapt to your pace. The timid calculate forever. The bold shape reality before anyone else reacts. This law is not about recklessness, it's about presence. You don't wait for permission, you become the signal others follow. The world belongs to those who step forward when others step back. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 28, enter action with boldness. A timeless reminder, fortune favors the bold, but destiny belongs to those who dare. Law 29, plan all the way to the end. Power is not about motion, it's about direction. Robert Greene's 29th law commands, plan all the way to the end. The impulsive act, the wise anticipate. Those who think only of the next move become pawns in someone else's game. Power belongs to those who can see 10 steps ahead, to those who begin every action already knowing its conclusion. Throughout history, empires and empires have risen and fallen by the quality of their foresight. Alexander conquered worlds yet lost himself to exhaustion because he never planned what came after victory. Greene reminds us that every triumph carries the seed of its downfall, unless you see beyond it. Power is not won in the present, it's secured in the end game. Planning to the end gives you control over chaos. You cannot predict the future, but you can prepare for it. Imagine the outcomes, the traps, the costs, and when they arrive, you move as if destiny itself follows your design. The one who plans fully moves with calm in storms that drown the unprepared. This law is not about perfection, it's about perspective. The powerful see the horizon while others stare at their feet. Think long, act clear, and end on your own terms. Power is not in beginning, it's in finishing. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 29, plan all the way to the end. A timeless reminder, those who see the ending hold the map to everything in between. Law 30, make your accomplishments seem effortless. Power is theater, and the audience only believes what it sees. Robert Greene's 30th law teaches, make your accomplishments seem effortless. Mastery is not only about what you do, but how you make it look. The powerful conceal the blood, sweat, and chaos behind every triumph. They turn struggle into grace, making the impossible appear natural. Throughout history, true masters never reveal the machinery behind their art. Leonardo da Vinci hid his endless revisions beneath a perfect smile. Baryshnikov made flight look human. Even political leaders mask calculation with charm. Greene reminds us, to reveal effort is to reveal vulnerability. When people see your struggle, they see your limits. Effortlessness is an illusion born from discipline. You practice, refine, and fail in private so you can shine in public. The world is drawn to elegance, not effort. Make your victories look inevitable, your skills divine, your timing flawless. That aura of ease transforms respect into reverence. This law isn't about deception, it's about control. When others believe success comes naturally to you, they see you as chosen, not competing. Hide the grind. Reveal only the glow. Power, like art, is strongest when it feels like magic. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 30, make your accomplishments seem effortless. A timeless reminder, mastery is not just what you achieve, but how effortlessly you make it look. Law 31, control the options, get others to play with the cards you deal. Power is not only about winning, it's about deciding what game is played. Robert Greene's 31st law commands, control the options, get others to play with the cards you deal. The most dangerous players are not those who dominate directly, but those who make others believe they are choosing freely, even when every path leads to the same destination. Throughout history, the shrewdest rulers and negotiators shaped decisions before the choice appeared. They framed every alternative so that no matter what others chose, the outcome served their design. Greene reminds us that freedom is an illusion easily built if you can control the frame. The secret is not in coercion, but in subtle guidance, making others act in ways that feel like their own will. Offer people a choice, but never real freedom. 2 doors that lead to the same room, 2 victories that both serve your cause. The powerful plant seeds of decision early, manipulate context, and watch their targets walk willingly into the outcome you prepared. When you design the game, you never lose. This law isn't about deception, it's about mastery of perception. The weak react to options, the powerful create them. Control what others see, and you control what they believe. Frame the narrative, and the world will play by your rules. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 31, control the options, get others to play with the cards you deal. A timeless reminder, when you control the choices, you control the outcome. Law 32, play to people's fantasies. Reality is often harsh, dull, and uninspiring, but fantasy sells. Robert Greene's 32nd Law whispers, play to people's fantasies. The masses crave illusion more than truth. The one who offers hope, wonder, and escape will always rule over those who offer facts. Throughout history, leaders, lovers, and artists alike have known this secret. The prophet promises paradise, the politician promises change, the brand promises identity. Greene reminds us people don't want what's real, they want what feels meaningful. The powerful feed that hunger, spinning stories that light up imagination, even when reason fades. Appeal to fantasy, and you bypass resistance. People will protect your illusion because it gives them comfort. They'll follow your dream because it feels like their own. To play to fantasy is not to lie, it's to paint reality with emotion so vivid it becomes irresistible. Truth may open minds, but fantasy opens hearts. When you can make others dream, you control their direction. Offer something greater than life, and life itself will follow you. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 32, play to people's fantasies. A timeless reminder, power doesn't live in what's real, it lives in what people long to believe. Law 33, discover each man's thumbscrew. Every person has a weakness, a gap in their armor, a hidden need, a secret fear. Robert Greene's 33rd Law reveals, discover each man's thumbscrew. Power is not just about strength, it's about precision. The most effective influence does not strike wildly, it presses exactly where it hurts. Throughout history, the masters of manipulation have understood human nature better than their victims did. Cardinal Richelieu studied his rivals until he knew their pride, vanity, and desires better than they knew themselves. Greene reminds us, everyone reveals themselves if you observe long enough. What they brag about hides insecurity. What they defend fiercely exposes their fear. Find the pressure point, the wound that never healed, the hunger that never fades, and you gain silent control. Use it not to destroy, but to direct. When you can touch someone's emotions deeper than logic can reach, you can lead them anywhere. The powerful don't push harder, they push smarter. To discover the thumbscrew is to hold invisible power. The strong intimidate, the wise investigate. Look past the mask, find the lever, and move mountains without lifting your hand. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 33, discover each man's thumbscrew. A timeless reminder, influence begins where the mask ends. Law 34, be royal in your own fashion, act like a king to be treated like one. Respect begins not from others, but from yourself. Robert Greene's 34th Law declares, be royal in your own fashion, act like a king to be treated like one. The world takes cues from how you carry yourself. If you act small, you'll be treated as small. Power begins the moment you decide to stand tall, even before the crown touches your head. Throughout history, greatness has often started with posture, presence, and poise. Joan of Arc dressed and spoke as if divinely chosen long before she commanded armies. Louis XIV surrounded himself with splendor not just to impress, but to teach others how to see him as the Sun King. Greene reminds us dignity is a mirror. The world reflects what you project. When you act with confidence, others assume you deserve it. When you demand respect without arrogance, it arrives naturally. Pretenders crumble under doubt, but the self-assured draw loyalty, admiration, even fear. Never beg for recognition, embody it. Every gesture, every word, every silence should signal authority. Royalty is not about birthright, it's about self-belief. Carry yourself with quiet pride, not noise. Walk as if you already own the space, not because you're entitled to it, but because you've earned the right to belong anywhere. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 34, be royal in your own fashion, act like a king to be treated like one. A timeless reminder. When you carry yourself like power, power begins to follow you. Law 35, master the art of timing. Power is not only about action, it's about knowing when to act. Robert Greene's 35th law teaches, master the art of timing. The powerful understand that every moment has a rhythm. They do not rush, they do not hesitate, they move when the world is ready to receive their move. Throughout history, the masters of timing ruled both war and peace. Julius Caesar waited for the Senate to underestimate him before crossing the Rubicon. Abraham Lincoln delayed his proclamation until the public was ready to hear it. Greene reminds us, impatience is weakness disguised as passion. Timing is power disguised as grace. To master timing is to master tempo, knowing when to pause, when to strike, when to disappear. Those who move too soon look desperate. Those who move too late look foolish. The wise synchronize action with momentum, reading the invisible pulse of the moment. They don't chase opportunity, they summon it. Patience is not an action, it's precision. Power belongs to those who can wait without wasting. The world moves in waves, catch them and you glide effortlessly, fight them and you drown. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 35, master the art of timing. A timeless reminder. Success is not just doing the right thing, it's doing it at the right moment. Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have, ignoring them is the best revenge. Desire gives power to what you cannot control. Robert Greene's 36th law advises, disdain the things you cannot have, ignoring them is the best revenge. The moment you show frustration, you reveal weakness. The moment you chase what denies you, you crown it king. The powerful do not chase, they choose. Throughout history, the wise have mastered indifference as a weapon. When Diogenes mocked Alexander by asking him to step aside and stop blocking the sun, the world saw who truly held control. Greene reminds us attention is energy. Whatever you give it to grows stronger. To despise is to waste emotion. To ignore is to erase. When insulted, smile. When denied, turn away. Your silence punishes more than any outburst could. Indifference confuses enemies and disarms rivals. The less you respond, the more they need your reaction. Power grows in the space between what provokes you and what you allow to matter. To master disdain is to master yourself. Not everything deserves your energy, and nothing controls you without your consent. Remember, what you ignore dies in the dark. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 36, disdain things you cannot have, ignoring them is the best revenge. A timeless reminder. Sometimes the greatest display of power is simply not caring. Law 37, create compelling spectacles. Power is not only felt, it's seen. Robert Greene's 37th law proclaims, create compelling spectacles. Humans are drawn not to logic, but to light, not to reason, but to wonder. The powerful understand that image and theater are stronger than argument. You don't persuade through words alone, you captivate through presence. Throughout history, leaders have turned spectacle into strategy. Louis XIV ruled from the Palace of Versailles, not with decrees but with drama. The Roman emperors knew that bread and circuses kept the people loyal. Greene reminds us, the eyes believe faster than the mind. Control what people see, and you control what they think. Spectacle magnifies your aura. A single image can rewrite perception faster than 1,000 explanations. Use symbols, gestures, and stagecraft to turn attention into admiration. The more visual your power, the less they question its truth. People may doubt your words, but they never forget how you make them feel. This law is not vanity, it's vision. The powerful understand that leadership is performance. Make your presence unforgettable, your moments monumental. When others speak, you create scenes they will replay in their minds forever. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 37, create compelling spectacles. A timeless reminder, those who command attention, command belief. Law 38, think as you like but behave like others. Freedom of thought is your birthright, but freedom of behavior is a privilege that must be earned. Robert Greene's 38th law teaches, think as you like, but behave like others. The powerful conceal their difference beneath a veil of conformity. To reveal your uniqueness too soon is to provoke envy, suspicion, or resistance. The wise hide brilliance behind familiarity. Throughout history, those who flaunted their rebellion too openly paid a price. Socrates died for questioning convention. Galileo was silenced for speaking truth too early. Greene reminds us, society fears what it cannot predict. Power moves quietly until it is too established to be threatened. To act ordinary while thinking extraordinarily is to disarm the world while preparing to reshape it. Blend in while you plan. Conform while you study. Smile while you strategize. Let others underestimate your depth, it keeps them comfortable. When the time comes, your difference will not seem rebellion, but revelation. Those who adapt outwardly while preserving their inner clarity move freely through every system. This law is not submission, it's survival. The powerful understand timing. First fit in, then rise quietly until no one can deny your place. Think freely, act wisely, move invisibly, and when the moment comes, the world will already be yours. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 38, think as you like but behave like others. A timeless reminder, true freedom begins when you no longer need to prove it. Law 39, stir up waters to catch fish. Power belongs to those who stay calm when others lose control. Robert Greene's 39th law warns, stir up waters to catch fish. Anger and emotion make people predictable, and predictable people are easy to trap. When you can provoke others while remaining still yourself, you win before the battle begins. Throughout history, the masters of manipulation have known how to shake emotion without ever raising their voice. Napoleon provoked enemies into rash attacks. Politicians stir public outrage to hide their own motives. Greene reminds us, agitation is a mirror. When others reveal their emotions, you see their weakness. When you stay calm, you control the reflection. To stir the waters is not to lose control, but to create it. Push buttons carefully. Expose vanity, pride, or fear, and watch as your targets undo themselves. Their chaos becomes your clarity. The world's energy can be turned against itself if you remain still enough to see its rhythm. This law is not cruelty, it's craft. You never win by fighting emotion with emotion, you win by directing it. When others rage, you listen. When they panic, you plan. Stir the waters not to destroy, but to rule the tide. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 39, stir up waters to catch fish. A timeless reminder. When emotions rise, power belongs to the one who stays still. Law 40, despise the free lunch. Nothing is truly free. Robert Greene's 40th law warns, despise the free lunch. What appears to come without cost often hides the deepest price. The powerful understand that independence dies the moment you start accepting favors you cannot repay. Every gift carries a hook. Every handout carries expectation. Throughout history, empires, artists, and leaders have fallen not from weakness but from dependency. The moment they accepted another's generosity, they traded freedom for comfort. Greene reminds us generosity is rarely pure. Behind every act of kindness may lie a chain waiting to be pulled. The powerful don't reject gifts out of pride, but out of clarity, they prefer to buy what they need so they owe no one. Never be seduced by what costs nothing. Pay your own way, earn your own alliances. When you invest, you control. When you take what's free, you invite ownership. The rich understand this. They despise what comes easily because it makes them weak. The poor cling to it because they do not see the strings. This law is not about greed, it's about dignity. Your power grows only when your success belongs to you. Every favor you decline strengthens your spine. Every bill you pay builds your throne. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 40, despise the free lunch. A timeless reminder, what's free is never free, and what's earned can never be taken. Law 41, avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. To inherit greatness is to inherit a shadow. Robert Greene's 41st law cautions, avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. The world rarely forgives those who follow legends. Their glory blinds others to your light. Their legacy becomes your prison. The more you try to match their steps, the smaller your own stride becomes. History is filled with successors who drowned in comparison. Louis XVI followed the Sun King and could never shine as bright. Alexander's empire died with him because no one could rule under his name. Greene reminds us, the greater the predecessor, the greater the pressure. You can't replace greatness by imitation, you must redefine it. When you follow a powerful figure, break free from their path. Don't extend their legacy, eclipse it. Change the style, shift the tone, redefine the narrative. What's remembered is not who maintained, but who transformed. The powerful do not inherit, they reinvent. This law is not rebellion, it's rebirth. To step out of another's shadow, you must cast your own. Honor what came before you, but never be bound by it. Greatness is not passed down, it is claimed anew. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 41, avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. A timeless reminder, imitation preserves legacy, but originality creates it. Law 42, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Chaos rarely starts from the crowd, it starts from the leader. Robert Greene's 42nd law commands, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. In every group, one person holds the thread. Cut that thread and the entire web unravels. The powerful don't fight everyone, they isolate the source. Throughout history, movements, revolts, and rivalries have depended on a single voice. Remove that voice and conviction turns to confusion. The Romans destroyed uprisings by capturing leaders, not armies. Modern politics silences influencers to control followers. Greene reminds us, energy is not evenly spread. It flows from the center. Control the center and you control the field. Never waste force battling the many. Identify the shepherd, the voice that others trust, the presence that unites, the source that ignites. Strike swiftly, cleanly, and without emotion. Once the leader is gone, loyalty fractures and power returns to you. Ruthlessness in this law is not cruelty, it's precision. Power demands clarity. To control chaos, you must see structure. Influence is architecture, remove one pillar and the temple falls. The wise do not crush crowds, they remove crowns. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 42, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. A timeless reminder, when you silence the source, the noise fades by itself. Law 43, work on the hearts and minds of others. Power gained by force fades quickly, but power rooted in emotion endures. Robert Greene's 43rd law teaches, work on the hearts and minds of others. Logic can persuade, but only emotion can transform. The powerful understand that influence begins not with command, but with connection. Throughout history, rulers and leaders who inspired love outlasted those who ruled by fear. Augustus rebuilt Rome not through terror, but through trust. Gandhi led without weapons, but with belief. Greene reminds us, hearts move faster than reason. Win emotions, and minds will follow. To control others, you must first make them feel seen, valued, and understood. Appeal to pride, not obedience. Speak to hope, not duty. When people believe in your vision, they carry it farther than you ever could alone. The wise don't manipulate emotion, they guide it. They turn followers into believers and believers into builders of their power. This law is not about charm, it's about resonance. The world obeys not the loudest voice, but the one that speaks to its soul. Build your empire not from commands, but from conviction. Influence hearts, and minds will never stray. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 43, work on the hearts and minds of others. A timeless reminder, true power doesn't conquer people, it moves them. Law 44, disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. The most unsettling power is reflection. Robert Greene's 44th law warns, disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. When you mirror your enemies, their gestures, their tone, their words, you hold up a truth they cannot bear to face. Nothing is more disturbing than seeing one's own weakness reflected back with precision. Throughout history, the mirror has been a weapon disguised as mimicry. The trickster gods of myth defeated tyrants by imitation, not by force. Greene reminds us reflection steals control. When you copy behavior without emotion, you rob your opponent of clarity. They cannot attack what looks like them. They lose themselves in frustration, while you remain still, calm, invisible. To mirror is to manipulate reality. When someone shows anger, show anger back, but colder. When they boast, echo their pride until it sounds absurd. When they act superior, reflect their arrogance until it collapses under its own weight. The mirror doesn't fight, it exposes. The mirror doesn't resist, it reframes. This law is not cruelty, it's mastery. People fall to their reflection long before they fall to your strategy. Become the mirror, and you turn their energy against them. No defense is more dangerous than silence that reflects truth. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 44, disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. A timeless reminder. Reflection is the sharpest blade because it cuts without moving. Law 45. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. Change is the law of life, but too much change invites chaos. Robert Greene's 45th law teaches, preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. The powerful understand that people fear disruption more than injustice. The moment you move too fast, even those who wanted progress will turn against you. Throughout history, revolutions have devoured their creators. Robespierre spoke of liberty, then drowned in the same blood he spilled. Leaders who demand total transformation forget that the human heart clings to the familiar. Greene reminds us, true power reshapes the world quietly, one piece at a time. Radical change feels like attack. Gradual change feels like evolution. To change the system, first appear to honor it. Use its symbols, its language, its structure, then bend it slowly toward your purpose. The powerful disguise revolution as restoration. They lead people to a new world by making it look like the old one. This law is not about deception, it's about wisdom. Vision means seeing the future clearly, but guiding others gently. The wise do not shout change, they become it, step by step, until resistance fades and the world awakens to a new order they already accepted. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 45, preach the need for change but never reform too much at once. A timeless reminder, revolution fails when forced but triumphs when it feels natural. Law 46, never appear too perfect. Perfection invites admiration, but it also invites envy. Robert Greene's 46th law cautions, never appear too perfect. The flawless become targets because they make others feel small. The powerful understand that too much brilliance blinds, and even light must cast a shadow to be seen clearly. Throughout history, those who shone too brightly often burned too soon. Julius Caesar's glory inspired loyalty, but also betrayal. Marie Antoinette's extravagance became a symbol of resentment. Greene reminds us, envy is the silent assassin of power. The moment people believe you are beyond reach, they stop admiring and start plotting. To remain safe, display small flaws. Share moments of humility. Let others feel superior in small ways. When they think you are human, they lower their guard. When they think you are untouchable, they sharpen their knives. The wise reveal enough weakness to seem relatable, but never enough to seem weak. This law is not about false modesty, it's about balance. Power thrives in warmth, not cold perfection. Let your humanity breathe through your greatness, and you'll draw loyalty instead of envy. The imperfect leader lasts longer than the flawless idol. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 46, never appear too perfect. A timeless reminder, perfection inspires envy, humanity inspires devotion. Law 47, do not go past the mark you aimed for in victory, learn when to stop. Power is intoxicating. Robert Greene's 47th law warns, do not go past the mark you aimed for in victory, learn when to stop. Success tempts you to keep pushing, to chase one more win, one more conquest. But every empire that has fallen shared the same flaw, not knowing when enough was enough. Throughout history, conquerors have destroyed themselves not through failure, but through triumph. Alexander marched beyond the known world and died in exhaustion. Napoleon conquered Europe, then lost it all chasing more. Greene reminds us victory feeds ego, and ego blinds reason. The wise celebrate in silence, not in noise. The higher you climb, the closer you stand to the edge. Power must be managed like fire, bright enough to lead, never wild enough to consume. Know your goal before you begin and stop once it's achieved. Restraint is rarer than ambition and far more powerful. When others lose control in the glow of success, the disciplined remain untouchable. This law is not about fear, it's about mastery. Greatness isn't defined by how far you go, but by how wisely you stop. Hold your sword steady when others swing blindly, and history will remember you not just for your victories, but for your control. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 47, do not go past the mark you aimed for in victory, learn when to stop. A timeless reminder, power peaks not at the moment you win, but at the moment you choose to stop. Law 48, assume formlessness. Nothing in the universe remains fixed. Mountains erode, rivers shift, empires fall. Robert Greene's final law teaches, assume formlessness. The moment you become rigid in your habits, your plans, your identity, you become predictable. And what is predictable can be defeated. The powerful survive because they adapt. Throughout history, the greatest survivors have been shapeless. The samurai who flowed like water. The strategist who never repeated the same move. The leader who transformed with every age. Greene reminds us structure is security, but it's also a cage. The world changes faster than loyalty, faster than certainty. To cling to form is to invite extinction. Formlessness is not weakness, it's mastery. When you are undefined, no one can attack your core. When you are adaptable, no force can corner you. Let your plans be living things. Let your mind move like wind, reshaping itself around obstacles. To endure, dissolve. To win, disappear, and return in a form no one expected. This law is the end and the beginning, the moment when power ceases to be control and becomes flow. When you are formless, you are infinite. The world cannot defeat what it cannot grasp. His is daily audiobook wisdom. Law 48, assume formlessness. A timeless reminder, the ultimate power is to be everything and nothing at all. Epilogue, the eternal game of power. 48 laws, 48 reflections on the oldest game humanity has ever played, the pursuit of power. Some seek it openly, others pretend to despise it. But whether we admit it or not, power shapes every choice, every relationship, every silence. To understand power is not to worship it, but to survive it. Robert Greene never wrote a book about cruelty. He wrote a book about awareness. These laws are mirrors, revealing not only how the powerful rise, but how we allow them to. They expose the invisible patterns beneath ambition, envy, loyalty, and fear. They remind us that in every era, the same forces move through different faces. The weak misunderstand power as dominance. The wise see it as discipline, the art of control, first over others, then over oneself. To live by these laws is not to manipulate, but to master emotion, timing, and perception. To see the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. Because only by understanding the game can you choose how to play it. And when you no longer need to play, when your power no longer depends on position, title, or applause, that's when you've truly won. Because the ultimate law is the one never written. Power belongs to those who no longer chase it. This is daily audiobook wisdom. Thank you for listening to the 48 Laws of Power, a timeless reflection on strength, awareness, and human nature. May these lessons guide not just how you lead others, but how you lead yourself.